Gonna be a quick countdown tonight. We're running a little bit late here at the Cannonball Chronicles, but we're ready for a killer show. You guys get ready, grab a cold drink, man. Gonna be awesome tonight, hanging out with you. Make sure you put your rider number up if you're one of the Cannonball racers. We want to know where you're at in the country. Represent Cannonball. Going live in 4 minutes. Stick around. Social media audience filling up here. Rich Castellino. What's the subject? The subject is the Motorcycle Cannonball, greatest motorcycle race of all time. Chris Noah in the house, living the dream. Had a great weekend. Stalk his page and check it out. Sam Bass in the house. Good luck and may the motor gods ever be in your favor. Thanks, brother. Billy Ray Pons, Cannonball, baby. Jimmy Bradley in the house. Chris Summerson is here, number 89, checking in as always. Good to have you with us, Chris. We're down to a minute and counting. We're going live with this week's Cannonball Chronicles. Don't go anywhere. Seconds is probably close enough. Nancy Weems in the house saying hi to all you guys, all our Chopper Town family out there. Cycle Source Nation in the house too. Counting down, getting down to the 10-second mark. We're going to pull this one out of the station, get it up on the tracks. Time to go live with the Cannonball Chronicles. Here we go.
Hey there, Cannonball Nation. We are back for another episode of Cannonball Chronicles. It's Wednesday. It's in September. I don't even know really where to start at. It's just been crazy couple of last weeks. Glad that you guys are all coming in. As you're tuning in tonight, we got a really good show for you. Make sure that you like it, you share it, and you send it out there for everybody to take and watch it. I'm really at a loss of words. I'm just going to bring in Robbie, and we're going to get to it. So, what's happening, Mr. Nussbaum?
You woke me up.
It's been a long day, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, very long. So it's
to me. I know. I'm just in a little bit of a funk today. You know, I mean, a couple of days ago it was 100 degrees, and yesterday we had snow on the ground. And you know, when the weather changes like that, your mood changes a little bit.
Okay,
good thing the weather will be better tomorrow, and my attitude will be better.
So we've got a virus, we have floods, we have fires, we have snow, we have, I mean, what else is going to happen this year? This is crazy.
It is.
This year can't end fast enough for me. I'm telling you.
I'm you know, I wouldn't put it surprised if we see something else crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, of course. It's official. I got the word yesterday from the town. Retro Cycle got the approval to move into the new location. So hopefully within a week, I'll be starting to move.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Bye. If you got to move, because I know what kind of pain in the ass that is. But good that, you know, that you got the location and you're able to move forward.
Right. And, you know, I'm going to try and be smart about it this time. I'm actually going to hire some movers. I palletized a lot of stuff, but I hire movers to do it because I'm not breaking my back this time. When I moved in here, I broke my back. So
no, I hear you.
The good news is I'm still in Booton. So I don't have to get new shirts. I don't have to, you know, everything is going to sort of remain the same as far as phone number and all that stuff, but the address is just going to change a little bit. So it's cool.
It took me like 6 years just to remember your address right off the top of my head. It was so easy. And it still took me 6 years. I don't know how I'm going to remember the next one.
Yeah, well, there's 3 more numbers in the new one. So
you threw me off. So I'm also really kind of in a funk tonight, you know, because, you know, right now, me and my buddies and, you know, my extended Cannonball family, we should be in Sault Ste. Marie right now. Getting ready for everything and having our first official day tomorrow with the prologue and the banquet and, you know, tech inspections and school and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I know it's weighing on a lot of us right now that, you know, that we can't be there, and we've been planning for the last year and a half to be there. So, you know, one of them things kind of puts you in a funk, but
I get it. And it's, you know, it's kind of like we're all missing each other too. You know, I mean, it's a big part of it is getting to see everybody again and hang out and do our thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm with you on that.
You have good news though.
What's that?
I mean, there is some good news.
Yeah.
We have a new show sponsor, the Banks Caster and Banks Brothers Motorcycles.
Yes, we do, right up here.
Yeah.
I can't do this yet. Yes, from the Banks Gas Studios, I guess it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of thanks to Tom and George for sponsoring the show and being our title sponsor. And they're really good guys. I think they're on in the next couple of weeks with us too. So we'll get a little more insight into those guys.
Yeah, they're always fun to talk to, you know.
Yeah. Oh, they're great guys. Great guys.
Yeah. I love their show. I can't wait for their show to come back. Cyber Swap or Cyber Super Swap.
Yeah, that's a Sunday morning show. Chris Simmons just wrote, "Thank goodness for this show. We get to see each other." So there is that bonus to having this show, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we still get a little bit of interaction here. even though you get to see us and you guys are typing there on social media, and we appreciate that. And we'll try to get to as many of those comments and questions as much as we can.
Right. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. It's great that you're tuning in. And don't forget your sponsors. We have the sponsors up in the corner here in the logo roll. So up in this section here. See, I'm still learning how to do this. There, you got it. Keep an eye on that as the logos roll through, and they support us, and we'd like you to support them.
Absolutely.
So, Podger wants to know about the musket ball coming up this week.
Something that I've heard about. Something that's not, cannonball sponsored or related, but I know there's a couple of guys getting together down in Arkansas to put a little bit of a ride together for 2 or 3 days, I think it is.
It was a little privateer deal, right? Some guys who said that they want to do it, so they're going to put together their own thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it should be cool. I'm anxious to see what comes of it and all that kind of stuff. So
it should be interesting. Hopefully someone will take some pictures. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else should we chat about? It's been kind of weird. I mean, I've been busy on the back end working on some cross-country chase stuff. Cannonball for next year is pretty much locked in. Besides doing a little bit of maintenance here, but I'm working real hard and real diligent on this cross-country chase to try to put some dates together in some cities and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you'll be coming soon out of here.
Do you have an idea of the route yet, Jason? Not that
kind of the route put together. I'm toying with a few different things of changing it a little bit just because I've got to change the dates and with tour season and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's work.
Yeah. I'm sure Todd Cameron's watching tonight because he's trying to figure out which bike he's got to get together first, as he told us last week.
Yeah, a lot of people I know are watching and wondering what's going to happen. Can we pull off 2 events in 1 year? That's yet to be determined.
So you just came back in off the road and you picked up some cool stuff, right? When did you get back?
I've been back a couple of days now, and I've just been kind of going through some of the stuff. And like I said, just it kind of really got a cold snap here, and I've been doing just a little bit of house cleaning in my house and going through some things that I haven't looked at for a while. And I'm one of these guys. I love reading literature like this kind of stuff. The old Harley Davidson manuals. This is a really cool one that I found here.
Dudley Perkins. Look at that. That's pretty cool.
1958 accessory catalog.
It's the year I was born, buddy. You got to send me that.
I love reading some of the just old stuff, like there's one from Eclipse Clutch, which is pretty cool,
Well, that's relevant to the cannonball.
Graphics on everything, and you actually learn a lot of information out of these things, how they work and operate. And, it's cool. Before we move on here, I'll show you one of my favorite ones here that I almost forgot that I had, which is really cool. So here's the start of it. Do you shake? Do you shake?
When you ride a motorcycle, or is it?
Or is it? The Flying Merkle, the only spring frame and spring fork motorcycle. How cool is that?
That's very cool. And in color, no less.
Yeah.
Did you see what color it is?
It's orange.
My whole life is orange.
This kind of stuff just makes me happy when I read it and look at the pictures.
Keep reading it then. Keep reading it.
Maybe someday we'll just have to do a show on early literature. And,
that'd be fun.
of kind of some of that stuff. So
Nice. That's a good idea.
yeah.
Listen, being the magazine guy, I have to speak in on this because I collect a lot of old literature because it's kind of my jam, old advertisements and stuff, especially around the motorcycle deal. But one of the coolest things is the awareness of the technology of what they used to do to put those pamphlets, like Rob just said, in color no less. But it was actually a spot color. It was 2 additional spot colors, black plus 2, and like when they put those early pieces of literature together, they were still doing like manual typesetting, man, and you can see it. Like it wasn't the big fancy font stuff that would come later on when they were dealing with film and everything. It was still manual typesetting. It. Those pieces are such a treasure because of that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And then they just had such cool graphics back in the day, and illustrations and font types, and I mean that's what the stuff I like. It just makes me happy looking at that kind of stuff. And I'm a paper guy. I've never, even to this day, migrated to reading anything on a Kindle or an iPad. I'm still one of those guys. I got to go to the store and I got to get my magazine or my newspaper, and sit and read it while I'm having my morning coffee.
Almost find it distracting to try and read stuff with scrolling. It's just you're so used to just turning the page,
Yeah.
But maybe that's just because I'm an old guy. I don't know.
No, I keep my scrolling for motorcycles and bikini babes.
And on that note,
before I get in too much trouble here, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm with Banks Brothers Motorcycles. One of the things I want to show you today is our new improved engine puller.
The changes to this machine has been in the arms and in the hands. We put hind joints in the hand to allow rotation of the engine, which makes it easier to get it in and out of the frame. With the angle change, we have equal clamping pressure on them. And over here we have what's called the posi lock, which allows this to be locked in place and the engine can't swing from side to side.
And we're going to show you just how easy it is to pull the motor out of the bike right now. George is actually going to come in, make contact with the cylinders, tighten it down, and pull it out of there.
You lift it up, rotate it, and bring the assembly out of the frame. You see the motor starting to move, and it centers itself. This allows no side play once the motor's in place, and it keeps it safe. It can't fall out.
Visit BanksBrothersMotorcycles.com to order your Banks lift.
All right, we are back. Hey, I don't know if you noticed in that commercial, but did you notice what kind of motor that they pulled out of that thing with that Banks lift?
36 knucklehead motor.
36 knucklehead. Yeah. I just noticed that for the first time today.
Yeah.
On that thing.
So if they can,
the thing's got to be a good product if they're pulling 36 nuts on that thing.
Did you see the shirt he was wearing?
I didn't. I'll have to pay attention the next time we watch that commercial.
And 80 years in a day, and 80 years in a day. Is that right, Chris? I believe that's right. Anyway, 80 years in a day. Great documentary done by Source Media. And there's a link on the screen right now that says you can get it on demand. I believe you can either buy it or rent it. So
that's great. I mean,
there we go.
one of the best videos of the year right there, and for how fast they really put this thing together.
Oh,
right
amazing.
after the motorcycle rally, it just amazes me. So the interviews are great. The history, I mean, even me being
all but one interview,
I actually learned some stuff out of the history that, you know, I thought I knew everything about the area, but I was surprised.
And it's 3 hours. I mean, you know, at $3.99, I think, for the rental. If I'm mistaken, Chris, come in and tell me. But
no, that's it.
At $3.99 for a rental, man, you're really getting your money's worth. You know?
No, yeah, absolutely.
And I appreciate
I
you guys.
Pay $100 to watch it because it was that good.
I appreciate you guys giving us a plug, man, because we're super proud of it. But really, it was our chance to tell the real story. You know, why do we get together every year in the Black Hills? It's so much more than, you know, the party and the craziness, and that stuff's all cool too. But this gave us a chance to really tell the real story. I'm so proud of it.
Well, you did a great job. I mean, in the amount of time you had to do it, you did a great job on it. Hats off to you.
Heck yeah. So go out and rent it.
Yeah, go out and rent it right now.
Do it.
Do it.
So, well, let's bust right into it, Rob. We got a really great guest tonight. He's a one-time cannonballer. He's also did the first inaugural cross-country chase. Gotten to know this guy a little bit over the last 2 years, and he is just great dude. And let's bring him on. Let's bring on our first rider. Hey, John, what's happening, man?
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Good, John. How are you?
I'm good.
That's a really cool background you got there.
Thank you.
Where is that at?
I'm actually in my living room.
Oh, no kidding.
Very
nice.
Hang on, I gotta calm my wife down so she can see this.
It's a piece of art I picked up at the Harley Davidson Museum one weekend years ago by a vendor.
All right.
That's a pretty big piece.
It is a big piece.
Where are you at now? I know you have dual residency. You're in Illinois or Florida. Are you in Illinois at this time?
I'm in Illinois right now, but I'm starting to get a little chilly.
Has that cold front hit you over there?
Yes. I think it was a high of like 60 degrees today. Terrible.
Well, if you want an alternative to chili, I heard something about pulled pork, but I won't bring it up.
No, I don't eat pulled pork. I'm saving that for when I really have to eat it one day, like the lunch or dinner.
For those of you who don't know, pulled pork is an inside joke on the Cannonball. Just seems to be at just about every hosted stop. People want to give you something a little better than hot dogs and hamburgers, and they figure pulled pork is it. So the Cannonballers see a lot of pulled pork, and it's become kind of a running joke over the years.
It has. I personally love it. I could eat it every day. Yeah.
On a chase, I think we ate the first 5 meals.
That was fine.
5 meals in a row. 5 captured locations, 5 captured meals of pulled pork.
So, well, let's jump into it. Let's start. John Bartman. Tell us about the current John Bartman. Where you're at, what you're doing.
Up until just a few weeks ago, I've been spending most of my time in my shop preparing my Cannonball bike to run again. I had a few minor issues that I had to take care of that took a little time with some parts with my crew members there. You see them, Billy Fingers and Rat Face.
Are you guys twin brothers?
No, we're not.
I thought that was ZZ Top for a second.
we hear that a lot, but it's just a way of we don't like razors. So yeah, just getting ready for the cannonball, and then upon finding out that we've been postponed, I've been doing a little traveling. I went down and saw Kelly Modlin and Bill Page in Kansas, and then recently I was at the Gas City Swap Meet for a few days. Saw some cannonballers and chasers down there, and I'm going to be headed for Arkansas this weekend.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Tell us about your bike. Tell us about your bike, John. What are you riding?
I ride a 1923 Model J that I bought as some pieces, and in anticipation of becoming accepted into the motorcycle cannonball. So I was just putting parts together, promising Jason that I'd have a running bike, and chasing him around the country for a year and a half, begging for a spot. So, but I got it together, and that picture right there is the first time I ever sat on it and realized how it's going to feel. And it's quite different, obviously. I've never had a bike from this era before. This is my first one.
Well, we could tell just by the pictures that you bleed orange and black, don't you?
Yes, I do. My favorite colors. Easy to apply. Yeah.
So how did you first hear about the cannonball, and what got you excited about it?
I heard about it before, but never really paid attention to it. And then I was at the Mama Tried pre-party and ran into Doc Hopkins and his girlfriend, Dawn, who invited me to be her friend on Facebook right before they were going to the cannonball. So I just got hooked up with watching her every day. She did such a great job with her documentations from the riding in the sidecar and hearing what people go through, that I just decided I gotta find a way to get in this and do this myself. So I put it in my application and I waited.
Nice.
So
and you bought the bike as a basket case.
Yes, sir.
Where did you find it, and what kind of troubles did you have putting the thing together? And
I got it in North Carolina. I picked up in North Carolina. I drove out there, threw it in the back of my truck, brought it back to my shop, put it on my lift, and I looked at it, and I'd never had or seen something like this before. So it was like, what does this do, and how does this work? No clue. And or even knowing what I'm going to need to make it run. But I hit the swap meets, and in Florida there's some nice ones down there. I ran into a guy named John Newman at a swap meet because he had a cannonball bike parked out in front of his spot, and started talking to him. And this picture's in his shop. He Sagebrush Cycles did my motor and transmission for me. And I brought my chassis down there. This is 4 weeks before the cannonballs to start. I was just getting my motor in. So I was up against the wall to be on time with the running bike like I promised.
Right. And how much time did you get with that before the last cannonball to actually, spend dialing it in and getting comfortable with it?
I was able to ride it for 2 weeks beforehand. My story is I showed up in Portland, Maine with 350 miles on my bike, 300 trouble, and 50 smooth. But we were on time. So it wasn't even 100% finished yet. We threw it in the trailer. Billy Fingers and I took it out there and rolled it out the next day. We still had to go through retightening of all the bolts and just going through everything just before you even take it on the road, out there in Portland. So we spent another half a day in the parking lot over there and still getting the kinks out of it at that time.
Well, I noticed one of the modifications on it that I hadn't seen before until just now. I guess I just never even really noticed is that you put a disc brake on the back of that.
Did we lose John? I think we might have
Did we
lost.
lose John? Anyway, I was noticing on that picture of, and I guess I never even noticed it during the run of,
Okay.
that he had modified that thing and put a disc brake on it.
Yeah, I was going to ask him about that, what the challenges were to actually get a disc brake mounted to the rear wheel, or did he use a different wheel or a different hub?
No, I use a stock hub, and I have a friend of mine with a machine shop, and he made me the adapter for the rotor that goes on the same spot as the stock drum did, mounts in the same fashion.
And then you had to make an anchor on the frame for the caliper.
Yes, I did. I bought several $1 to $2 calipers at swap meets looking for something that would fit, and found this one that kind of fit the angle of the frame. So I just welded a little plate on it. It's not really adjustable in any way, but it is mounted at 12 o'clock position on the rotor, so you still have room to go forward or backwards with the wheel if you need to tighten the chain.
Oh, good, good.
And I have no, you notice I have no right foot brake at all. Both my brakes are on the handlebars due to the fact that I've never really ridden a two-wheeled bike with a foot clutch very much. And I figured this way I can always put one foot down and work my clutch and my brakes.
And is your front brake a drum brake?
Yes, it is a drum brake. Drum on the front, disc in the back. And,
that's another thing I never noticed, that you didn't actually have a foot brake on that thing. That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure. Like I said, I was new to the foot clutch thing, not knowing what kind of stuff I'm going to be riding in. I just thought I'd put them on both on the handlebars, and I have options.
Yeah. I would be doing it to scare the shit out of people. Putting my feet up, coming in, and just using my hands to stop.
Exactly. So I always got my brakes in hand, and just worked out really nice. Got good brakes.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
John, tell us about some of your prep work for the Cannonball. What did you bring with you?
I brought almost everything in my shop. Not that I have a lot, but I had a lot of spare motor parts, valves, valve springs, gaskets, chains, tires, inner tubes, touch-up paint, just a work table, lights, a tent, cooler for beer.
How big was this truck?
It's big. It's a big trailer.
Did you have a kitchen sink with you too, or what?
I didn't know what I was getting into. I'd never done this before, so I brought everything.
So you're the guy to go to if somebody breaks down with a JD, right?
Yeah. I had every tool that touched that bike is with me. A set in my.
Somebody wanted to know what was in the cooler. If we get him back in, or if you can hear me, John. We wanted to know what was in the cooler. There's some magic ingredient in your cooler.
Some of the specialty tools. We for my vodka.
Yeah, but there's some other specialty drink that Chris Tribby wants to know about.
Yeah, no, we don't need to know nothing about that stuff. I can tell you.
Yeah, here it is. You run this in the gas tank for an octane booster.
The old Malort.
Or you can use it personally to flush you out.
You can use it for, it has many uses. You can clean tools, dissolve rust.
Tell us about your
a
team.
Local product. My team name is Team Skeeter.
John.
Okay, I'm Team Skeeters, and Skeeter comes from my wife's childhood nickname. As a child, she was allergic to mosquito bites, and she would swell up, so everybody in her family called her Skeeter. So we now own a saloon that's called Skeeter's Saloon, and on the grounds of the Skeeter Saloon is the secret workshop where Miss Skeeter, my motorcycle, was built, and it's just named after her and the tavern, mostly her, I should say. Miss Skeeter's the name of my motorcycle.
That's nice. That's nice.
I'm jealous now. I didn't realize
She's
that
been
your
called
shop
that.
was in the bar.
It's near there.
So I
Near
don't-
there.
So I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if you heard that or not. But I'm super jealous that, I guess I didn't ever realize that your secret workshop was inside of a bar. I mean,
Oh,
how
yeah.
cool is that?
Got to keep everything together.
Hard to keep it together when you're in a bar.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Everything in moderation, I guess, huh?
When you get stuck, sometimes, I don't have a fully equipped shop. I have very minimal basic tools, and sometimes you run into a roadblock and you got to go have a drink and think about it for a minute. So you come up with a solution.
One of our viewers wants to know if Malort works in the brake lines in case you get low on the brake lines.
We haven't had to use it yet, but we would put that in.
That's crazy. Oh, man. Well, let's take a quick little break, Robbie. Let's bring in one of our segments here. A picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah. All right. How bad is the freeze up?
Uh-oh.
Ah,
Oh,
there she is. Hey,
there
Rebecca.
we go.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Gosh. Can't tell I'm from Texas, can you?
Not too much.
Oh, well, I am enjoying the show. I'm enjoying listening to John and his stories. I didn't realize that Skeeter Saloon was named after Terry. But that kind of makes sense in a way.
We're learning all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is cool,
Yeah. I like that.
So you got
I have,
a video for us tonight, and actually features our guest, John.
it does. It's just a little short video. This was, I think, day 4 of the 2018 Cannonball, and I think, which is part of my story, I think we were in Ohio. Part of the Cannonball for all of us is not quite knowing what day it is or where we're at. Mostly where we're at is a little bit confusing. We're able to keep up with what day it is because we each get the maps and the route sheets, and they all say what phase of the route it is. So we know what day we're at, but we don't always know where we are. So I'm pretty sure we were in Ohio, and most of all the other bikes had left, and I turned around to walk to my bike to put my camera up and catch up with everybody. And there was this one bike sitting there, and some guys I know, the road crew from Team White Trash is working on it. And this is when I kind of unofficially met John.
Faith, what time is it? You're only 1 minute after your official start time. Okay. So you're great on time.
You're just starting at the appropriate time, John.
That's right. Yeah, all the rest of these guys, they're
outta here,
antsy,
you
they
know.
gotta pee, they gotta get to the next stop.
Of all days, I got people waiting for me too. So I usually by myself every
That's
day.
the way it happens.
Well, what could possibly go wrong?
So, so part of what I really like about, and not necessarily this video, I enjoyed, because from that point I've really gotten to know John and Terry and really just adore them. Is it's just a tiny little peek into how everybody pitches in. It really doesn't matter who is broke down or who's having a problem or who has a tool, or it really doesn't matter. Everybody just pitches in because they're there and they can help. And I just really like that aspect of the Cannonball.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm anxious to hear back from John to get his side of what is kind of going on here, and see where he was at, see if he remembers this and all that. Are you back with us, John?
I'm here. I don't see myself on the screen, but if you can hear me, I can hear you.
We got you. Did you get a chance? Did you see the video?
Yes, I saw the video and I remember that day vividly.
So what was going on there, John?
The problem I was having was my clutch was, again, I never had one of these bikes before, and that was relatively early in the Cannonball. But my clutch was not adjusted properly, and it was slipping. It was causing was hard for the bike to start. And those two guys, Scott and shoot, I forget his name now, Jesse. Yeah, they said, well, we can either adjust your clutch or just push start you. And Scott Bird said, let's just adjust it real quick. And so they knew exactly what to do, and we did it so fast and put it back together. And then I had no issues at that point starting the bike. So another thing I learned that day, a tip on how to adjust the clutch, which obviously I adjusted improperly. So, but I've learned a lot about that bike since those early days.
What I'd like to know is what did Scott Bird say to you, whisper in your ear? Do you remember?
He was probably wanting to know if we had more Malort that night. I don't.
That's probably true.
I don't remember. I think he just said to me something like, "Don't rush. You got plenty of time. You're not late," because I made it over the starting line in time. And it's all about time of day when you want to be messing around, when everybody's taking off and you're sitting back there with a bike that doesn't want to go. So I think he was just, if I recall, he was just reassuring me, don't worry about it. You still got time. And I crossed over the line, like I said, with time to spare, and away I went from the back.
You said you had to meet up. You had to meet up. People were waiting for you. Who were you riding with that day?
I committed to riding with the Carsons that day.
Oh, big mistake. No, I'm kidding.
No. Let me tell you something. Get back to my first day on the Cannonball. It was like a half day, and I didn't get some issues. And it was the third day. These guys, and the next thing you know, we're in a nice cafe having a nice hamburger and a cup of chili and a glass of pop, and I'm like, these guys know how to travel, so I'm going to hang with them. But we never ate like that ever again any of the rest of the trip. But it was good.
They're great guys. I kid them a lot.
Gas station sandwich.
Well, if you ride with Chris Simmons, you're only going to get to eat a granola bar. So maybe you know that already. So
I rode every day on the cross country chase with Chris Simmons.
That's right. You did. She's great to ride with.
Yes.
There's something here about a panic moment 2 days before the motorcycle Cannonball.
Yeah. I had some issues with my bike, and I took a perfectly good running motorcycle, did something to it, and it wouldn't run right. And my crew members were at work, and I was by myself in my shop for 2 days. And I guess I kind of developed tunnel vision, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it was like Sunday, and we had to leave on Tuesday. And I was almost in tears, thinking that I'm not I'm not going to make it, and I'm going to have to call Jason after I promised him for 2 years I'd show up on a running motorcycle and not be able to get there. But two guys came over, and we just had a couple different sets of eyes and some ideas, and within probably half an hour, we had it all back and up and running like it.
Now you say almost in tears, and that's kind of a true emotion.
I just thought all this time.
Are you? I mean, is that an exaggeration, or were you really feeling that way? Like after all the work you put in?
No, I was feeling that way. I built that whole bike in 6 months. I was feeling that way. I built 6 months. From pretty much from tested. And when I couldn't even ride around the block in my own neighborhood on it, I was just about in tears because I pushed so hard to get there, and here I am. It's time to go, and I may not make it.
Jeez.
And that always seems to work out, though.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of guys will show up, and you'll get help in the beginning.
It did, but somewhat. Yeah.
What's that, John?
So, I mean, like I said, I worked every day for 6 months, 7 days a week to build that bike and show up in Portland with it on time. And it was only a day and a half or 2 days before we had to leave. I couldn't get it right. And I was about in tears getting ready to make the call.
So tell us about the emotional highs and lows you went through in those 6 months. Did you hear that, John?
Well, not knowing not ever having one of these machines before, I had a lot of unknown. And unfortunately, a lot of the things you see on my bike that I did, the disc brake and the way I did things, were just my ideas and not knowing 100% if it's going to work like it did. That's a picture of us testing a new crate motor that we.
Did you ever
and
think about using that instead of the Drambuie box?
No, that's our crate motor. And what we did was I learned the springs for the fork. So we calculated the weight of the fuel and the motor and everything. We filled that full of weights. We stuck it in the frame, and then I sat down on the bike to see if we had the front springs adjusted adequately on the front fork.
Very smart.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, just because I didn't have a motor, I didn't have the rest of it. That's all I had. So we got to keep plugging away. So it was all things like that we did. So I did most of it myself. My crew members came over.
So now that you've had an intimate time with this motorcycle, and you're getting prepared for what was the 2020 or now the 2021 Cannonball, what are you planning on changing on it, if anything?
Couple of my weak links I had. One of the weak links I had was I made that luggage rack for my Drambuie box. I made it out of tubular steel, trying to keep the weight down. And it was stress cracks. We had to weld it back up at night and stick a piece of angle iron on the side of it and weld that on there and just shore it up. And then the tires that I chose, although they're good tires, they're 21-inch Dunlops. They don't work real well in the rear as far as lasting. They only went about maybe 2,200 miles. When we were in Sturgis, we had to change the rear tire. So got different tires, new luggage rack, and I incorporated a pull handle on the back now so that I can put the bike on the rear stand by myself instead of looking for strangers.
Let's talk about that. Do you have a Jiffy stand in addition to the center stand?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
What were some of the challenges of the Jiffy stand?
Well,
I mean the center stand.
I don't really care for it. And in fact, one day in Florida after the Cannonball, I had my bike in the garage, and a buddy of mine came by to borrow a ladder, and we opened the door, and the bike is laying outside. The jiffy stand snapped right in half at a perfect 90-degree break, like you cut it with a saw.
Oh boy.
So I don't really trust it that much, and I prefer it to be on the rear stand, but I couldn't get on the stand myself. We said someone help. They got the box in the back and the batteries in it and such like that. So, but my new and improved rack has a pull handle that I can walk around the back and actually put on the stand by myself. So just a couple, by just a few little things that got.
You'll share that achievement with us at some point, your new improved design?
Yeah, it's new and improved, but it's great. So far, it's working great. And I don't think it's going to break or crack or have any issues with it. That's the plan.
Good.
What about these early mornings? How about those early mornings on these cannonball runs?
That's a little rough for a guy in the bar business. You know, I'm a 9:30, 10 o'clock guy now. And it's really hard for me to get up at 5:30 in the morning, and I have no appetite, but I have to go eat something. And, you know, it's something that I've learned I've got to start preparing for probably a few weeks in advance. Just start getting up in the morning.
I heard something about the chase.
Well, yes, okay, correct. On the chase, I would call down to the hotel and ask for a wake-up call. And my wife would always say to me, why don't you just use your alarm clock? What if they don't wake you? And I said, well, they always wake me up. No big deal. So one morning, my phone rings, and the hotel phone rings, and I just pick it up and hang it up immediately without listening to it, because I figure it's an automated message. And then my cell phone rings immediately, and it's Joe Sparrow telling me that I need to get down here. He's got my directions, and people are leaving, and he's waiting for me. So I threw my clothes on. I ran down there and got on my bike, drove it over to the starting line and parked it, and then went upstairs, and I still had the same clothes on. And I brushed my teeth and grabbed my stuff and walked out and met Rebecca Cunningham in the parking lot. So her and I rode again together for a while in the last place position until we caught up there again.
That's great.
Jason, you want to check in with social media and see if anybody's got any questions for John?
You know, my setup tonight, I can't really see what's on the screen. I was just trying to pull it up here a little bit ago. And,
maybe if we can check in with the command center in Source One. Maybe Source One can give us some insight on what's going on with social media.
Let me do this.
It's on.
Any questions for John?
you know, on my setup tonight, I can't really see what's on the screen. I was just trying to
Heather?
a little bit ago.
Hey guys, sorry,
Okay.
I actually listened to the Facebook feed to make sure there's no latency, so I'm behind you.
Okay. Source One.
So,
I hear that.
So let's see. Keith Cardell, the fact that riding the Cannonball isn't easy is why it's so great. I like the creative solutions you chase down, John. Let's see. Mike Podger says, as you know, Robin Jason, the Cannonball is an emotional roller coaster for most riders and the crew. Let's see, what else? We have people from everywhere. John LeBlanc is here. Chris No. Kelly Maudlin says it's a great show. Chris Summer Simmons says we just don't eat. And Randy White loves the show.
Well, that's good.
There's a
Some nice
lot of talk
feedback.
about the Malort. People.
There's a lot of talk about
There's
the
a lot of
Malort.
talk
Yes,
about
I
the
did
Malort.
notice some of that. As Chris knows, says it mixes well with synthetic brake fluid.
Oh, I have to admit, while you guys were talking about it, I Googled it, and there was nothing about what I read that made me want to drink it.
Well, if you have a fetish or a liking to bug spray, you will like it.
I'll pass. Thank you.
That's the only thing I can really compare it to. Like, you know,
No.
they tricked me a couple of
I
nights
told
in the parking lot.
Jason, you want
I
to
told
talk
Billy,
about
I
the
said,
chase?
meet
You want to talk about the chase a little bit with John?
Yeah, let's get into that a little bit with our last few minutes here and talk to John about the cross country chase and what he thought about it and what he rode and stuff like that.
I rode a 1940 ULH 80 cubic inch flathead, modern machine compared to my Cannonball bike. And just like the things on my Cannonball bike, I threw a few modifications on there that are allowed in the rules. Like I did a 12-volt system. I did a primary belt drive. I felt that it was less maintenance, less to carry. I can buy batteries and bulbs anywhere. There's some alert there. So I just did things to make it easier on myself. I didn't want to be laying in a gravel parking lot somewhere adjusting a primary chain, or
Right.
brake rod, anything like that. So by putting the belt drive in there, it was like set it and forget it. And I had no issues pretty much. Actually, the issues that I worried about and took precautions for were what most people seem to struggle with every night: 6-volt batteries and generators and stuff
Right.
like that. So,
And if I remember right, you got all the miles in the chase too, right?
yes, I did. So far I'm 2 for 2. So, but I
There you
work
go.
hard to prepare my bike. I make it the best that I can make it. I'm not a professional mechanic in any way. But
A lot of it's,
I've
you
had a
know.
bunch of old bikes for a long time. I didn't similar
I have
And it's like we talked on a few of the
and that-
shows that just mental preparedness is the biggest thing, and if you're mentally prepared and you're confident in what you've done in your machine and your build, 95% of the time you're probably going to do pretty dang good.
Can you draw some comparisons between the two events and what you like about
Plus,
one? And
I got
as
that extra
opposed to
2
the
hours
other?
of sleep.
On which one?
Well, on the Cannonball, I had my crew. On the Cannonball, I have my crew with me, and they kind of take the bike from me when I come home at night. Sometimes they fix me a drink, and we get the bike going. And obviously, on the chase, I was responsible for myself and carrying all my belongings, tools, and spare parts, and just trying to pick what you need and what you think you're going to need to have. That's what made it a lot different. But also on the chase, we had a lunch stop and a dinner stop pretty much every day. So I just ate my food and then I'd go over and work on my bike. So by the time I got back to the hotel at night, I was pretty much ready for the day. So I just tried to stay ahead of it, The quizzes were the toughest.
I hear that quite often, and I don't understand why.
Well,
You
I
have
looked
the
at
answers.
I looked at the score sheet when we got off of the ferry boat, and I looked in the far right column, and I said 9. I go, wow, I got 9 out of 10 on this last quiz. I wonder which one I got wrong. And then I found out that was 3 days worth of scores. That's a 9. So I didn't do as well as I thought.
Hey, Jason, we have a
I
question. We have a question
You
in
even
from.
think in multiple choice, how hard can it be? But your answers are so close to one another that you couldn't even make a good guess.
Right.
We have a
And
question
I don't
in.
pay attention to it. I'm not sightseeing. I can't tell you where I've been on the Cannonball or pretty much on the chase. That's why in that one stretch I had to leave some tools on the road in case I had to turn around and follow my way back like breadcrumbs. Coming out of that lookout mountain, my toolbox opened up and I left a little trail of tools for some of the guys. But Yeah,
I just
I'm
watched
too
a
busy.
video like 2 days ago.
Chris Callan says we have a question coming in.
Yeah, this was one I just want to make sure I keep on top of stuff like this. Joe Masperi from Facebook is asking, is there a cannonball for flatheads?
There is. So there is some flatheads that are qualified for the motorcycle cannonball. Is it? I mean, a Harley J is considered a flathead, correct, Rob?
Well, technically, no, it's not. It's an F head.
Right. So there's some scouts that are, but predominantly, probably what he's looking for would be for the cross country chase, and that's the motorcycles in the new event that is 1930 to 1950.
We bumped up a year. 1950 now.
Just making it easy for everybody.
I think the
I guess the
flatheads
test is going to get a little harder, huh?
It's a little easier math.
Okay. So we have some pictures. Let's go through some of the pictures and maybe John can tell us about them.
All right.
Sorry, Chris, maybe I put you on the spot here. There we go.
That was us showing up in Portland, Maine, and rolling the bike out of the trailer. We had our tent set up, and we still had to do a maintenance on it and tighten a bunch of bolts. Chris Tribby wanted me to go on the test ride with him, which I was unable to go on because I wasn't ready to go. And so I ended up going out by myself and getting lost with the navigation system. Got caught in a torrential downpour rain. But I pulled into some little seafood stand and had one of the best lobster rolls I've ever had in my life while the rain came down. And then headed back. So that's our home base in Portland, Maine, in the hotel parking lot there. Getting ready to go. This is in the shop, mocking up the bike. It's got the proper tires on there. At this point, the tires have been mounted for the first time to test them out. Hanging the saddlebags, the Malort box. Those handlebars that are on it did not make the cut. Those were scrapped. But that's just fitting, putting it together to make sure everything fits. Never had the motor, or transmission, or anything until after everything was ready to go. So that's just
cool.
That's talked about this earlier. Now we got the disc brake is on there, paint is on there.
And the crate
motor. We're testing the crate motor, and again, we're working on getting the springs correct. What's that? Oh, that's it. And again, we're working on. This is somewhere out west because Billy's working on the bike on the left there, and Mike or Ratface is cutting a notch in my Malort box so that I can run 2 more batteries in there and plug in my electric suit when we go through the road to the sun and in the mountain elevations. I'm hooked up to run an electric suit. Unfortunately, that's the only idea that never really worked properly. The first day the wires fell off, and the second day the wire burnt up, and after that I just said, hell, we're on the other side of the mountain now. We'll just go with the regular code. So
that was a good idea, though.
best laid plans.
It's still fun. I still got to get the kinks out, but I think it can be made to work. This is the first day of the official start, the first lunch stop. I don't remember where we were at, but a guy had asked me about my disc brake, and he said, "Is that thing going to work when it's full of oil? Or it'll work fine. It'll burn off or whatever." So pulling into the dealership for lunch, I grabbed the rear brake, which was I had maybe oil's going to be a problem. So I look down and find that the rotor is not spinning; it's come off of the flange, or off of my flange actually came off of the hub with the rotor on it, and it was just spinning. So I didn't get to eat lunch that day. I spent my lunch hour taking the bike apart, borrowing some Loctite from the dealership, and I put it back together and came out washing my hands out of the bathroom just as the last two bikes were riding out, which was Pat and Chris Simmons. So I didn't really know them at that time, but I jumped on the back and followed them for a while. And so never had a problem with that again after that. But the retaining ring popped off. So this is a gas station we stopped at when I first started riding with the Carsons. And it was just fun because there's a whole bunch of Cannonball bikes, obviously, in one gas stop, and a bunch of local people looking at us like we're crazy, and they say, where'd you come from on those things? And when you tell them where you're coming from and where you're going, they look at you like you're crazed. You know,
they do.
It's probably putting a little Malort in the tank. Like, again, you keep that octane booster up. The welder's out there, so we were welding the luggage rack back again. I don't remember where this was at. It was one of our earlier stops because there's not so much grease and oil on there. And I do want to say one thing. It was around this time that I pulled up to my trailer at night, and my guys told me that somebody named Jody Perwitz stopped by and said that she really liked my paint job on my motorcycle. And these guys didn't really know who she was that much. And I said, you got to be kidding me, because her and her father obviously are high-end painters. And my paint job is all rattle can Krylon. Painted in my shop on the bench. So, and that is exactly the look I was looking for, the dull orange finish.
I think it pulls it off pretty good. I like it. You know, it's pretty unique from some of the other ones that you see out there, and that's what I'm like to see. Yeah,
it's all home built. You know, I have a vise, a cordless drill, a hacksaw, and a MIG welder. That's it. You know, so some of the stuff on my bike is a little crude, but it all works.
That's all you need. That's all you need. So, well, I want to thank you for joining in with us tonight. It's been a really great interview tonight. I've actually learned a few different things. I think the people out there, I think it was fun for them. What do you think, Robbie?
Oh, great time, John. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. We want to get some other cannonballers out there to come join us on the show. So if you haven't been asked to be on the show, reach out to us and let us know that you want to be on here, and we'd love to talk to you. All you cannonballers or support people, let us know your schedules. Let us know if you're available to come on. John, great job. Great to see you again. I hope I get to see you in person soon.
Okay. Thanks so much for having me on the show. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun time.
Send our regards to Terry, would you please?
I will do that.
And Rebecca, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And
I love
Chris Callan, I wonder if you have the magic to show us one of the people behind the scenes. If you can bring Marge in just to say hello to everybody. Perhaps.
Hey, Marge.
Hey, y'all.
This is the one. This is the person who gets the trains running on time. Marge, your mic is muted now.
Okay, we're back. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So Marge is our pre-interviewer. She lines all this stuff, gets the train going in the right direction, and hopefully we can keep it on the tracks. So hats off to Marge. And let's have a shot of the van if we can. Source one. There we are. Chris Callan, our executive producer.
Heck yeah. So
Bam.
let's finish this baby and get going, man. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I haven't even had a chance to do nothing. I want to kick back for a minute. So,
All that Malort made you thirsty, huh?
it made my throat dry just thinking about it. I mean, it's too bad because it's such a beautiful bottle and presentation, and then you try it and you're just like, oh, man. But anyway, you got to try it. No regrets. Remember that.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. It was great to see you. We'll see you next week. This was lucky number 13, this show.
Oh, cool. See you next week.